Hello, I'm Janna, and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. I am very excited today. We're going to be trying out a different type of video. Today, we're going to be doing a cross comparison of distressed crayons in comparison to other crayons in the crafty world. We're going to be looking at Marzipan Twists by Jane Davenport, Scribble Sticks by Dina Wakley, Caran crayons, and of course, some soft Crayola, not the wax-based, but the watercolor variety. So we're going to be looking at all of these different types of crayons and seeing exactly which sort of things each of them do. Each of these definitely have a place in the craft world, and each are unique and have individual properties. So we're going to be looking at all of the different properties of these crayons across the different brands to see what they do. And we'll see if we can create a little art along the way. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. Today we're going to be doing a cross comparison video of different types of crayons. So I'm looking specifically at water soluble crayons today. Now, distress crayons are my go-to when I'm using crayons to create with, but different crayons have different properties. So we're going to look at 5 different types of crayons and see what they do, what they don't do, and how they work out for coloring or watercoloring in a picture. We're going to start with distress crayons since these are the ones that I am most familiar with. And we're going to start by just swatching these out. Now, for the distress crayons, there are a total of 72 crayons in the line, but this isn't counting the specialty crayons, which are the distress pearlescent crayons. Very beautiful, but since they're shimmery, we're just going to be focusing on the standard distress crayons. So, first things first, we're going to swatch these out on here, and then we're going to be looking at 4 different categories. We are going to be swatching them. We're going to try and see how the texture and smudgeability works, blending while dry, blending with a water brush, and then coloring in an image. So let's start right here, and we're just going to do a swatch first. So the colors that I decided to highlight today include Picked Raspberry, Lumberjack Plaid, Mustard Seed, Carved Pumpkin, Mowed Lawn, Twisted Citron, Mermaid Lagoon, Blueprint Sketch, Wilted Violet, Ground Espresso, and Black Soot. So as you can see, we've got some lovely, vibrant colors here. And this is just a basic swatch. We haven't done anything to these yet. So the first thing I want to take a look at is smudgeability. And we're going to be using the Mermaid Lagoon. It's one of my favorites. So smudgeability, when you put it right down on the paper, it goes down really, really smooth. And the second you put it down, you can smudge it. And that's just a finger, no added water, no nothing else. So smudgeability on these is fantastic. Now, what about blending them together? So again, this is just going to be dry smudging, and we're going to pair the Mermaid Lagoon with some Wilted Violet. So if I put down a bit of Mermaid Lagoon here, and a little bit of Wilted Violet here, how does that work out? It should work well. They're nice and creamy together, so just take that and smudge. So blending, not bad. We have some lovely color going on here. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to add some water to the mix. So again, we're just going to take that Mermaid Lagoon, and I've got a water brush. This is the Tim Holtz water brush, and it's the fine detailer one, which happens to be my favorite for blending. So we'll just take this, and we can activate that distress crayon, and as you can see, it plays very nicely with water, and we can spread that out. And that goes for quite a bit, which is really nice. So plays very nicely with water. And these are designed to play with water because they are in the distress line. So very lovely. Okay, now what about blending them together with two colors? So again, we've got the Mermaid Lagoon, and we've got a bit of Wilted Violet. So again, just gonna take that, and yes, of course they play very nicely together. I actually like blending them more with a wet medium. They are water activated, so blending with water definitely gets a much smoother gradient going, which I really, really like. And the nice thing is I'm not noticing any color breakdown. The blendability is really smooth, and you don't get too much of an after image like from the spot where you initially put down the Distress Crayon. Okay, so very happy with that. I love the colors of Distress. The palette line is just, it's perfect, and it's my go-to for creation. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp an image and then color it in. I'm going for one of the floral stamp sets by Tim Holtz, and we'll stamp in some black archival and then watercolor in the image. Okay, so we've got our stamp, and we're just going to put that right here. Good firm pressure. Okay. Oh, and just for reference, I am stamping and doing all the swatching out on some watercolor paper. And this is some mixed media Canson watercolor paper. Okay, so now let's go ahead and color this in. So what I'm going to do off to the side is I'm going to scribble a little bit of the crayon down onto my media mat, and then I will dip into it with the water brush and bring it to the paper. I could color directly on the paper, but I found that using the media mat as a palette has traditionally given me better results when I want to add color. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and paint. I'm going to start with my lightest colors at the center of the flower. Got that beautiful yellow right there with the mustard seed. And we're just going to paint that in. So as you can see, this goes down very, very nicely, and the color spreads out absolutely beautifully. We've got a nice, crisp, clear image to work with. So we're just going to continue filling this in. For the moment, let's go ahead and put this on fast forward as we finish watercoloring our image. And here are the finished results. This side is all Distress Crayon, and look at the coloring. I am so happy with the blending and the way these work together. The palette is just, it's wonderful. I can't say enough good things about Distress. Love the colors, love the texture, love what they do. So now let's take a look at some other watercolor crayons and see what they do, because different supplies are going to give you different effects and have different color palettes. So today is about exploring and finding out what some of these other art supplies are all about. The next crayons that we're going to be looking at are the Crayola Signature Watercolor Crayons. Now these are also water soluble. It says brush on, water to blend, and shade. So we're going to take a look and see what these do. Crayola typically has a great reputation, and it's definitely something that I frequently have bought my own kids. Now, the main thing I want to know is, how do other crayons work? Is the texture the same? Is the blendability the same? Or are the techniques for using these going to be completely different than what I'm used to? And it's also fun to try some different palettes. So I'm going to go ahead and label our chart so far. We've got Distress right here. And then over here we're going to have Crayola. Now the Crayola set that I'm looking at has a total of 12 colors, but we won't be able to swatch the white since I'm only working on white color cardstock. So again, it's going to be a very similar palette to what we just did. So let's go ahead and start swatching these out. Oh, these also have color names. So the first color we've got is magenta. Ooh, interesting. It's not nearly as creamy and it's a little flaky, but the color is really intense. I like that the color is very intense. Next, we've got a traditional red. Okay, it's a little bit more orangey red. That's fine. Interesting though, it's very flaky, so I'll have to watch out because I don't want to accidentally smudge something. All right, now we've got a lovely orange. And next we have a peach. It's interesting, kind of makes me think like a yellow orange. It's a good color. Kind of reminds me of dried marigold. And then we've got a traditional yellow. It's a very sunshiny yellow. Kind of closer to fossilized amber if we're comparing this to the distress line. All right, next we've got a yellow green. That's pretty close to mowed lawn. That's interesting. Nice and vibrant, but again, that's weird. These are really crumbly. But those crumbles could be neat, like if you're trying to do a technique with those. All right, now we've got a forest green. That's a lovely dark shade of green. Okay, and next up we've got a blue. Ooh, it's a good blue. That reminds me a lot of prize ribbon. Then we've got our violet. Oh, the violet's really crumbly. Interesting. Let's try to keep the crumbles off the paper. Now we've got a brown. Pretty standard. That's good. And of course we've got a black. So this isn't bad. This is a pretty diverse color palette, so you've got lots of stuff to play with. So off to a good start with these. All right, now let's see about smudgeability. Do these smudge? Let's put some down here. Okay, so these don't seem to be made to smudge. You can get a little bit of smudging, but it doesn't look like that's intentional. But you know what? That's okay. So let's just see how the dry blend goes. I don't think we're going to do much with that, but let's just try it anyway. So these might be more along the line of water activated and like just no crossover to smudgeability, but that's okay. It's just, yeah, no, these really aren't made to blend together. But that's fine. These are more marketed as watercolor crayons, so emphasis on the water portion. Let's see how these work with water now. Okay, got my water brush. Got that. Ooh, I like the color. The color's good. Yeah, not bad. Doesn't blend out as much, but the color is really, really pretty. And the blendability is nice. I'm not getting any weird residue at the tail end. Everything's blending out very nicely, so no harsh edges. I like that. That's really good. Okay, let's see how it works when we blend two colors together. Okay, let's start with the blue. Just draw that over. The water activation on this is just absolutely lovely. I'm really enjoying that. Ooh, that purple's really pretty too. It's definitely giving me Villainous Potion vibes. But that's interesting. I'm seeing just a little bit of a reddish residue under here from the purple. That might just be something about the purple, but that's okay. We can still make this move. Yeah, watercolor-wise, this is great. All right, so the next thing that we'll do is we're going to stamp and we're going to see how these color in. Now, I won't be able to make myself a palette off to the side because they're not creamy enough to go down onto the media mat, so I'm going to have to do a direct color to surface. Hopefully those crumbles won't get in my way, but I'm really anxious to see how the colors are going to play together. So, just inking up my stamp. And we'll see how this goes. All right, we've got that. Stamping that down. That works. All right, so let's see here. I want to start with the green on the leaf and see how that goes. That's the largest part of the stamped image, so I think that's going to be the easiest part to color in first. Oh, I'm going to be really light-handed because that pigment goes down pretty fast. It's not a bad thing, just interesting. Because every supply, it's like you can't expect one supply to act just like another. You have to kind of learn the little nuances of each supply and then create with them once you have the feel. Okay, so we've got that. Let's go ahead and start blending that out. Yep, that's going to go smoothly. So watercoloring should be pretty easy with these. Yeah, it's not bad at all. I just have to watch out with little crumbly pieces, otherwise I might get some color in places I don't want it. All in all, not bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this on fast forward as I finish coloring this image. Okay, let's take a closer look. So this is with the Crayola crayons. Now, the thing that's hard about these when coloring an image is trying to get color into small places. These tips are pretty chunky, and since I can't scribble off to the side and pick up with the paintbrush to go onto here, it's a little bit harder to get paint in the spots that I want color in. So that's really the only drawback that I'm seeing of these, besides it's not really intended to smudge, but they're not designed to, so that's totally fine. But color-wise, I like the color, I like the blendability, and it is very good when it comes to the water reactive properties. So we're going to move on and take a look at another type of crayon. The next crayons that we're going to be looking at are by Jane Davenport. And these are called Marzipan twists. And they are gorgeous. So Marzipan twists, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 different crayons in this set. And this is the Jelly Bean Queen set. There's 2 different sets, but I thought we'd focus on this one today since it is very bright and colorful. So let's go ahead and swatch these out here. We've got 12 beautiful colors to take a look at. And we'll go from there. All right, let's start with the Cotton Candy. Now these have a completely different barrel. These are also twisty. So when you want more stick, you just twist the end of the barrel and you get more. And I like how they have a grip. They're very comfortable to hold. This is something that is pretty unique about these. All right, now on to swatching. So we're just gonna put that down, and these are unbelievably creamy and delicious. I love the feel of these. All right, now we've got some berry cherry. There we go. And while I'm at it, let's label JD Marzipan twists. Okay, next we have got some Sun-Kissed Tangerine. We'll put that down right here. Lovely orange. That almost perfectly mimics ripe persimmon, so that is very lovely. Next, we have got some Top Banana. Now, I love the names on these. The names are fun, just in the way that distress crayon names are fun. They're very descriptive. All right, next, we've got some Lemon Drop. Loving that, bright and cheerful. Now, let's move on to Juicy Pear. This is pretty close to our Twisted Citron in color, so we've got that. Then we have Sour Apple. Put that right here. That's pretty close to Lucky Clover. Then we've got Tutti Frutti, very reminiscent of Peacock Feathers, but a bit darker. And now into the blues. We've got all sorts of beautiful blue color. We've got berry blue. Oh, gotta twist that. That's one of my favorites. I've used this one quite a bit. All right, so there's berry blue. Then we've got blueberry bean. That's a fun name. Put that right here. And then we've got island punch. Ooh, it's really dark. And then the last color that we have is grape jelly. So let's put that right here. All right, so we're going to be swatching with berry blue. Oh wait, no. Let's go blueberry bean. That's going to be a closer color match to Mermaid Lagoon. All right, so let's put that down. And it's very creamy. And is it smudgeable? Absolutely. This is intended to be smudged, and you can tell that as it just moves right across the paper. Okay, now what happens if we smudge out two of these together? We're going to do the blueberry bean and the grape jelly. So how do they smudge together? And of course, beautifully, because these are meant to be smudged. So we have a nice blend there. We got good smudgeability. Now, how about water reactivity? So let's put this right here. And I will get the water brush. Okay. And yes, these are also meant to be water reactive, so they do play very nicely with water. Just look at that. It's going to blend out absolutely beautifully. Now, the Jane Davenport collection has its own unique set of colors, and that's one reason I love working with Marzipan twists. They're very bright, very tropical, and just fun. So, as we can see, it blends beautifully with water, and mixing with water, we know that's going to work out very well. Let's put that down. And get some of that grape jelly. All right, let's blend this together. So again, just activating with water. As you can tell, it's moving gorgeously. And yes, that blends out perfectly with water. So, as we can tell, this is another great crayon to work with. It's got good colors, good smudgeability, good blendability, just all the things that I'd want in an art supply. All right. And in the Marzipan twist, there are currently 24 colors. All right, now let's see how this works when we want to stamp with it. Now, I know that I don't want to color directly onto the image. These are chunky and it's not going to work well for that type of coloring, but I should be able to scribble these off to the side and pick up the color with the water brush and then put it right onto the image. So I think the coloring experience is going to be very nice. Okay, got our stamp. Let's go ahead, place that down. There we go. Pressing firmly for good image. All right. So I'm going to scribble some colors off to the side. The colors we'll be using include the blueberry bean. Oh wait, no, I'm not going to use that one. I'm sticking with the colors I had earlier. Okay. Scratch that. Cotton candy. Use some of the cotton candy. We'll go for the top banana. That's a nice bright yellow. The grape jelly for sure. And then we need 2 tones of green. We're going to be using juicy pear and sour apple. Okay, so we've got our colors. Now we're going to put this on fast forward and color in our picture. All right, and let's take a look at the coloring with this. I like how it blends out. It works very well and the blending is good. The one thing I did notice is the pink. It's a great pink on paper, but once you add water to it, it gets this really interesting neon quality to it. That wasn't what I was expecting when I was blending it out, so it's just interesting to note. But the rest of this, It blends beautifully. Okay, let's move on to our next crayon type. Now we're going to be getting into two crayons that I'm not overly familiar with. I know of them, but haven't really played with them very much, or in one case at all. So the next two that we have include Dina Wakley Scribble Sticks. Now I got these ages ago because the tin was really cool, and of course I do love the art of Dina Wakley. So I thought this would be fun, but when I initially tried these, I didn't quite get the results I was expecting. Now it's been a while since I played with these, so I'm going to treat this as if I haven't ever used this medium before. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll put a label down. This is the Scribble Sticks by Dina Wakley. All right, so this is a set of 12. These are media scribble sticks, and they're water soluble. They're by Ranger, so I love things by Ranger. And these are compatible with acrylic paints and other mediums. All right, so let's see what we have. I'm just going to go ahead and swatch these out first. Now, one thing as you look at them right away, they're pretty solid. They're in a wrapper. There's no twisty mechanism. They're not in a barrel, and they're relatively hard. So if I remember correctly, these don't really smudge, but the water qualities are going to be really good. Okay, so first we have Ruby. Okay. Oh, I should have done this in reverse, but oh well. Oh, I forgot how hard they are to get out of the box. Alright, I'm just going to hold them like this and put them back in as I finish up. Alright, next we've got Magenta. Should have switched those two, but too late. Then we have Tangerine. Next, Lemon. Ooh, I like that yellow. It's really pretty. And Lime. Definitely some Twisted Citron vibes here. These are definitely a lot harder to push down as I'm putting them onto the sheet. We've got some Turquoise. And again, I'm getting a bit of a dust going on. That's interesting. Now we've got some Sky. Ooh, I do like the shade of blue. That's very pretty. And we've got a dark blue here. This is Night. Okay. And for the purple, we have got Blackberry. Ooh, that is a very nice rich purple. Then we have our brown, which is Umber. Okay, kind of getting a scorched timber feel from that. And then we've got a standard black. The 12th crayon is white, so we won't be swatching that one out. Okay, well, let's go ahead and see the smudge test. Now, this isn't going to smudge. This isn't really intended to smudge, so we'll just do this for the sake of comparison with the other chart. And as you can see, no smudginess, but that's okay. These were not intended to be smudgeable. But what about dry blending? If I layer these, will I be able to get a decent blend? These kind of remind me more of colored pencils, just in the way that they feel. So I'm kind of thinking that layering them might be doable. Because if you just treat this as a dry medium, then there's no reason that you shouldn't be able to get a nice little gradation going. Sort of. Well, as I said, I don't think these are really intended to be smudgeable or that blendable. These are really a water-based product, but that's okay. Water-based is fun. So let's see how these react with some water. Just clean off the water brush. Okay. Huh. Okay, it's definitely activating. There we go. That's really different from the others that I've swatched out. There's a interesting bit of residue left over. The others I've typically been able to blend out without having that little after shadow. But all right, let's try the next part, blending two colors together. Let's try that and that. I really like that blackberry color. It's very, very pretty. All right. And let's try that. Ooh, there we go. Now that is really pretty. I like that a lot. Ooh, that blackberry is such a good color. I love that. Okay, so these really shine when we're doing the water activation part of this. So, as I said before, each one of these products, they're designed to do something specific, and each one of them is going to react a little bit differently. So it's not a case of what's better or not so good. It's a question of what do these do, how can we use them, and how can we be creative with the qualities that each one of these crayons has. Now these, that would be so fun to journal with in a mixed media journal and maybe float that across the top of something else. Like, I'm getting the feeling that these are really intended for mixed media and layering. But on the other hand, it says that right across the top of the stick. So, media. So with these, we're going to have to do some direct coloring to the stamp. Let's go ahead, put this down. Okay, so I'm just going to go directly on with the colors and then we'll blend it out with the water brush. We're going to be using the lemon, the magenta. Oh, these are hard to get out of the box though. We'll use the, oh, I've only got one shade of green. Ew, that's slightly problematic, but we do. Okay, we've got the lime, and then we'll use the blackberry and this. Yeah, so we'll use those four. All right, I think I'm going to start with the green. Now, the nice thing about these could be sharpened, so you're not really limited to the density of these. You could easily sharpen them. All right, let's color that in just with that green. Ooh. All right, let's see how that does. We've got the water brush. Yep, that's going to be blending out very nicely. All right, let's go ahead and put this on fast forward as we color in our little floral. And here are our stamped results. All in all, not bad. The only thing is, whenever I put down a line of crayon, we're getting a bit of an after image, kind of a ghosting image. So that's interesting, but maybe that's just my technique that's causing that line to remain. That will be something I'll need to experiment with later on. But all in all, I like the colors. I love the water reactability, and these definitely would be great for layering up with other types of media. Okay, now on to a brand that we've all heard of, but I've actually never used, and you can tell that because I haven't even opened the box. I just got these pretty recently. So we're going to be exploring the Caran Neocolor II Aquarella. Hope I'm saying that right. So something different. These are also crayons, and we'll see how they work out. Now the color line is definitely much bigger than what I have in the box, but I just wanted to try these out, so I just got a small sampling of them so that we could take a look and see what they do. So let's go ahead and label this side. The Caran. Oh, I like the case. Packaging is also important. Aw, comes with a little sticker thing and a little informational sheet. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and swatch these out and see what we've got. So let's see. Just take that little thing out. Let's start with this one. And purple. What? Violet? It doesn't look purple to me. Maybe that's a magenta? Well, only one way to find out. Ooh, these are really skinny. That's interesting. Ooh. And very smooth. I like that. Cool. Alright, now we've got a scarlet. These are really smooth. I like that. Ooh. Not what I was expecting. I was kind of expecting something a little bit stiffer. Okay, now we've got our traditional orange. That's, to me, it's more of a yellow orange than orange orange, but that's all right. Now we've got our yellow. They are so smooth going down. Wow. Okay, now we've got a green. It's an emerald green. Ooh, really dark. Okay. And this is a cobalt blue. That is pretty darn close to Mermaid Lagoon. That's interesting. And now we have a violet. Then we've got brown. And there's also a black and a white, but we'll just go with the black. So we had 9 different crayons to swatch out here. Okay, well, this is going to be very interesting. So let's start with these. I don't think these are intended to smudge, but with the way it's laying down so smoothly, I'm not sure. Nope, these are not supposed to be smudged, but can we dry blend them? Let's see. Kind of. Interesting. Yeah, I can kind of dry blend these together. I don't know if I'd want to, but it kind of works. All right, now let's go for the water solubility. So, scribble that out. We've got our water brush. Let's see what it does. Ooh, that is pigmented. Yeah, that is good. I like that. That's got so much color in it, and I didn't even put down that much. And it's a beautiful color too. So, blendability with water, absolutely excellent. All right, now let's blend with water. Okay, I'm just taking that. Ooh, no after image. I like that. Nothing leaving any staining. Ooh, that blends nicely. The purple is a little bit of a weird after image, but not much of one. Yeah, that blends nicely together. But you know what? I almost like the Dina Wakley Scribble sticks a little bit more for blending. That like had a little bit more water solubility, but these are kind of acting more like watercolors. That's very interesting. Okay, so on to stamping out an image. So we'll stamp the flowers and see how these play. Now again, this is definitely going to be a direct coloring because I just won't be able to get these onto the media mat. They aren't that soft. Nope, those don't need to do that. Okay, so let's stamp this. Good. We've got our flowers. Let's go ahead and color these. So, let's see here. We've got 4 colors to use. We're going to be using these 4. All right, start with the green leaves. Yep, that's going to go down very nicely. And these definitely could be sharpened with a sharpener, so That is a good thing. Okay. Pretty good. And how does that work with the blending? Yep, that is going to be beautiful. All right, let's go ahead and put this on fast forward as I finish up painting in this flower. Okay, well, let's take a closer look. And the coloring for this went really, really well. I'm very happy with that. Now, these are the ones that I've never used before. And I gotta say, first impressions, and I'm pretty impressed. I like the colors, I love the blendability, and very, very friendly to use. So today we have looked at 5 different varieties of crayons, and each of these has its own unique traits, which makes them very unique. So if we look at just the flowers, over here we have distress crayons. Then we've got some from Crayola. We've got the Jane Davenport Marzipan Twists. We've got the Dina Wakley Scribble Sticks, and down here we've got the Caran. So as you can see, each of these has their own unique traits, and they've got beautiful color palettes. I love the variety of color that we have here. There's definitely some crossover colors that you can find in almost all of the different brands, but they are all unique and they all do different things. The Distress Crayon, it's smudgeable, it's water activated, and it's blendable, and to me, it's probably the most reliable for me actually getting the results that I want since I've used them the longest. Then we've got Crayola. These are a beautiful watercolor crayon, and as you can see, we've got some really vibrant tones, and the results, they're great. The JD Marzipan Twist. These are so creamy and the smudgeability is so good. I absolutely love that about them, and that's probably my favorite quality about the Marzipan Twists. Then we go over to the Dina Wakley Scribble Sticks. I can't say enough how much I'm impressed with the water blendability. It's got this neat bleed. It's really pretty. I like the colors. The only downside to me is that they don't smudge, and a lot of the things that I do technique-based are things that are smudgeable. But if I want to play with this in a mixed media journal, this would definitely be something I would pull out again. And then we got the Caran. They're so smooth, they go down beautifully, and the blendability is fantastic. I definitely would love to spend some more time playing with these. But all in all, this is just an overview of some different crayons and their properties. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video, and I hope this has been informative for when you go out and want to purchase your own art supplies, or maybe this will spark an idea for you to pull out some supplies that you already have. So thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner, and until next time, happy crafting!